I'm a bad motherfucker.
All right, so there's a lot of talk about friend of show Donald J. Trump speaking of his political enemies as vermin.
Well, he's nicer than what I say about them.
Yeah, me too. Trump calls political enemies vermin, echoing dictators Hitler and Mussolini. On Veterans Day, the former president vowed to root out his liberal opponents, drawing backlash from historians who say his rhetoric is reminiscent of authoritarians. Now, if you're like me, you would not watch CNN or MSNBC for any length of time without being strapped to the chair Clockwork Orange style with clamps on your eyelids and a guy standing there with a visor with eyedroppers. Yeah, but you couldn't get away from the way they really played this up.
Yeah.
That him calling these people vermin, showing he was just like Hitler. He's
Don't
just
make me
like
Trump.
Mussolini.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious about the consequences that Thomas Friedman is going to pay for this article. Understanding the Middle East through the animal kingdom. I bet Rachel Maddow is dialing up her outrage right now about this article.
Maybe it's just Chinese astrology. Did you think of that? It's the year of the dog.
Let's take a look.
Are you a lemur or a dragon?
Let's see. My guess is that the next week or so is likely to be the most important in the Gaza war since Hamas launched it on October 7th. The U.S. will probably retaliate against pro-Iranian forces and Iranian agents in the Middle East that Washington believes are responsible for the attack on a U.S. base in Jordan that killed three soldiers on January 28th. At the same time, we could get a Gaza ceasefire deal with an exchange of Israeli hostages held by Hamas for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. And Secretary of State Antony Blinken is going to try to bring to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel an option: normalization with Saudi Arabia in return for a commitment to engage with the Palestinian Authority on a long-term plan for a Palestinian state. Yeah, he's going to go for that. How he's going to get right on board with that. How all of these are going to interact, I do not know.
I do, but I believe him that he doesn't know.
I mean, look, there's a reason that I think some of Matt Taibbi's best work has been attacking Thomas Friedman. He hasn't done it in a while, but I think he's going to have to with this article. I'm sure dozens of people have sent it to him. I'm going to send this to him and put in my vote. Like, he really needs to say something about this.
Thomas Friedman, is this like Jon Stewart coming back to the Daily Show? Like, things are coming to a head, so we get call Thomas Friedman out?
No, Friedman didn't go anywhere.
He's been writing the whole time.
He's been writing the whole time. He's just, every now and then he hits a level of stupid that gets people's attention.
Yeah.
It's generally difficult to distinguish a Thomas Friedman op-ed with like an AI, Chat GPT generated piece of writing, because most of what he writes is just like what this is so far. Just unbelievably hacky and uninspired.
Yeah. Right.
AI
but every once in a while, he'll make you, what?
It's basically anybody who watches a lot of TV could write most of his stuff. Liz Cheney says that Trump is a threat to democracy. Other people say no.
It's just, right, exactly. Yeah, that's like, most of it is just the hackiest crap you've ever read in your life. Yeah.
Personally, here's where he takes a turn, though. Personally, I sometimes prefer to think about the complex relations between these parties with analogies from the natural world. Here we go, folks. The U.S. is like an old lion.
Go on.
We are still the king of the Middle East jungle.
What?
More powerful.
I mean, it's like a 7th grader writes this. I mean, it's so dumb.
This isn't even a good animal thing.
No, it gets better. More powerful than any single actor, but we have so many scars from so many fights that we just can't show up roar loudly, and expect that everyone will do what we want or scamper away.
He's thinking of the Lion King, not even lions.
I'm waiting for
We're like Simba.
A Hakuna Matata chorus here. We are one tired lion, and that's why other predators are no longer afraid to test us. Iran is to geopolitics what a recently discovered species of parasitoid wasp is to nature.
Go on.
What does this parasitoid wasp do? According to Science Daily, the wasp, quote, injects its eggs into live caterpillars, and the baby wasp larvae slowly eat the caterpillar from the inside out, bursting out once they have eaten their fill.
Is there an Iranian inside me?
There's a, well, as John McCain once said, there's an Iranian in all of us struggling to get out.
Well, I thought I felt something this morning having my morning stool.
Is that, well, that's probably
Iranian.
Well, that's why it burned. Is there a better description of Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, and Iraq today?
Maybe.
They are the caterpillars. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is the wasp. Yeah, we got that, Tom. We got it. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, and Kataib Hezbollah are the eggs that hatch inside the host, Lebanon, Yemen, Syria,
Holy
and
shit.
Iraq,
You've already gone
and
too far.
eat it from the inside out. Like, this is so bad. It's even on its own terms.
Why did BB fund those eggs?
We have no counter strategy that safely and efficiently kills the wasp without setting fire to the whole jungle.
Oh my God.
This is probably, he should stop writing here because this is his masterpiece.
A full Disney movie. Okay.
This is the apotheosis of everything Thomas Frank has been working towards his entire career. This piece. Hamas is this is what the in a game of chicken you have to throw the steering wheel out the window was only hinting at. Like that piece was the mean streets. This is the Goodfellas. Hamas is like the trapdoors.
This is like seriously.
Terrarium.
If a 13-year-old wrote
I can't
this,
even read this.
Their teacher would say, "That's clever." You know, they would give you a pat on the head. I see what you were going for there,
Oh, my
right?
God.
They would think it's kind of awkward and ridiculous, but they would be like, "Oh, look, this kid tried to."
That's
come
very
up with a comparison."
imaginative, Billy.
Right, very, very imaginative. The United States is like a lion because we're big and strong and we have scars. And Iran is like a wasp because of this. I mean, it's just so lousy.
It's
on top of everything
right,
else.
like
It's
even on its
like-
own terms, it's not good.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Colonel Hans Landa in the film Inglourious Bastards did a relatively same thing, but a lot shorter and sweeter about if the German was an eagle. And he's just doing that with a terrarium of spiders.
Basically. No, it gets crazier. Hamas is like the trapdoor spider. The way trapdoor spiders operate, according to a nature site, is that he just kind of Googled insects, I think, and just picked them at random.
He just Googled,
a nature site.
This is the kind of guy who corners you at a cocktail party and you cannot get out of the conversation to save your life. Like you're waiting for him to stop talking and he just never does.
Look, it leaps out, sees his prey, and hauls it back, and then tries to exchange it for spider hostages.
Yeah. Is that the spider leaps out at great speed, seizes its prey, and hauls it back into the burrow to be devoured, all in a fraction of a second. Trapdoor spiders are adept at camouflaging the doors of their underground.
Oh, as a safe ring.
So they are hard to see until they're open. No, this is, he saved the coup de grace for last.
Exercise any like editorial like autonomy over this guy? Like, do they have the ability to say, "Hey, listen, we can't run this"? I guess not.
No,
I mean, they thought this was worth. I mean, this is unbelievable.
Okay, but look, man, as sad and horrific as it is, all the people in that fucking temple where we disrupted Rachel Maddow thought this was genius.
Oh, man.
Did you read that Thomas Friedman article where he compares the Hamas to the spider? That was great. That was great.
I'm a pretty cynical bastard, but I think even for them, this must have been a what the fuck kind of thing.
I have a lower estimation of that crowd.
But this is actually more embarrassing than the fake Hamas rape story they had to retract. Because you know why?
Neck and neck.
They kept it to just a real simple, easy to digest bullshit
Well,
thing.
that's true.
And didn't introduce every exotic insect of the animal kingdom to try to make this point.
All right, so he saved.
This wouldn't even be runner-up in like the New York Times Journalists of Tomorrow competition, where they like solicit submissions from
like junior
12-year-olds.
Yeah,
You know
I
why
don't
I
even
like
think
it?
he'd be a finalist in that category if they did that.
Because you know he wrote it himself.
Yeah.
Not like some Harvard presidents I know.
Okay, so he saved the best for last, arguably. Finally, Netanyahu is like the Safaka lemur, which I got to observe in Madagascar.
The Safaka lemur.
Safakas are primates that use bipedal sideways.
Oh my God!
Oh God!
Sometimes they fun the spiders.
This is a case where the jokes really do write themselves. Safakas are primates that use bipedal.
If you're gonna do this, at least come up with animals people know what the fuck they are. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. It's like he just randomly Googled shit.
By the way, it's a monkey. A lemur's a monkey. He could have said that.
Yeah,
but he's trying to soft pedal. He just called him a monkey.
They use
Biden should drop that line on Netanyahu next time. The way, you know, my friend Thomas Friedman said you were like the Safaka lemur. He said, you know, he looked at you and it reminded me of Safaka. He saw it. He was in Malaysia or one of those countries out where the fucking Indonesia, Madagascar, whatever he said he went.
Oh,
he said he looks at you. He thinks of one of them lemurs.
My granddaughter that I ignore, she has those index cards of the different animals around the world. That's one of them.
Yeah, you're letting me the trapdoor spider.
Safakas are primates that use bipedal sideways hopping as a primary means of walking.
Jesus Christ.
They advance by moving sideways, waving their arms up and down, which makes them appear to be moving even more than they are. That's Bibi. Always shifting side to side to stay in power and avoiding going decisively backward or forward. This week he may have to. Sometimes I contemplate the Middle East by watching CNN. Other times I prefer Animal Planet. And he thinks that lands. Like he thinks he stuck the landing there.
Oh my God. He really does speak for the powers that be, though. That is how they think of the Middle East, as like, oh, it's animals and you do whatever.
Well, but they were so upset about Trump saying vermin. This guy's getting into fucking spiders and bread and sideways lemurs.
The sideways monkeys of the fucking...
Easily one of the... This is from Arnaud Bertrand. Easily one of the more unhinged Thomas Freedom NYT column. I don't think he's ever topped that. That's what I'm saying, man. That is his Zeppelin 4, man. Like he'll never...
You know how it's impossible to understand the Middle East through the lens of humanity? You gotta do it in animal kingdom terms.
He decided to understand the Middle East through the animal kingdom.
Oh my God.
Always a great idea to go compare people to animals in a context of genocide and dehumanization. And surprise, surprise, the more noble animals are the U.S. and Netanyahu, respectively a lion and a lemur, while all the locals are insects and parasites.
The lemur's noble? The sideways jumping lemur?
It didn't seem like a slam.
It's a mammal.
It was basically calling him cagey.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so there's really a battle of mammals versus parasites.
There are other big cats that are cagey that would have conveyed the message. Yeah, lemur is a bit of a put down.
I'm telling you, it's the first index card from a child that passed into his hand. It doesn't even make sense, by the way. Why would a lion who lives in the savannah be bothered by a jungle wasp? Is it because his friend the lemur who eats caterpillars is bothered by the eggs? So anyhow, there you have it. Geopolitics explained to Americans by the New York Times' premier columnist. We're the king of the animals. We're burdened by the insects and parasites in the jungle, and we might just have to burn the whole thing down. But remember, folks, they hate us for our freedom. And this from Gen X Girl. Call me. Also notice all comparisons are between countries and animals to imply we're all like this, except in the case of Israel. The comparison is between BB and an animal to imply one bad actor and not the whole country.
Yeah, good point.
Always the exception to the rule for the chosen people.
Okay, but
hey,
it
not
keeps
these
Jews
chosen
safe.
people.
Don't you get it? It's the only safe. It's the only safe place.
No, I mean they.
What are you talking about?
You know, the more absolute hatred they generate with their blatantly buying out governments, media outlets, canceling rock stars and actors and committing genocide in broad daylight. Boy, is that making me feel safe.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to this that people have made that case where I'm like, oh, that's the best place too, right in the middle of where everybody. I mean, they were kind of neutral before you got there. Now they're real not into it.
Well, the whole premise is crazy because if you were in a global situation where anti-Semitism had become so virulent that Jews are not safe in the West, well, who the fuck funds, equips, and supports Israel? So how would that be a safe place?
Think of it this way.
They can't stand on their own without full support from the lion. Jesus Christ.
If the lion turns, they're done.
The Jews are like
they'll eat all the lemurs.
And the United States is the cardboard box, and Joe Biden is the mother kitten. And then all the litters of kittens, like the Jews, have to come and suck at the teat of the mother kitten, right?
Right.
I should submit that to the New York Times.
Let me get the spiders off here.
Sure, you could. I mean, they need a successor to Friedman eventually. He's getting up there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I don't know how many more of these he has in him.
Michael Rappaport.
Genius like this only strikes once. Who are they gonna recruit for the next
the next iteration?
Right.
All right, so this is Matt Orfala did a short video showing that in spite of the horror that the media universally reacted with when Trump used the term vermin, they are not ones to really shy from terms like that. So Friedman is not the trailblazer we took him for, apparently.
Oh.
Trump calls political enemies vermin.
Flashback. Washington Post calls Trump vermin.
Echoing dictators Hitler and Mussolini. You know one thing about mass murdering dictators in history, it's that they refer to the people they want to mass murder as vermin, pests, rats.
Washington Post refers to all the Republican rats.
People they want to mass murder.
Trump's Republican rats, the USS Trump rats, Trumpkin rats, the Republicans, the rat. Trump rat will tower over Washington. Here's a pencil sketch of Trump as a rat. Here's a computer render of Trump as a rat. Trump surrogates are rats. Fleeing rats. Hillary Clinton is rat poison for Donald Trump, the rat. Washington Post is
saying your political opponents are vermin. You feckless. Echoing dictators Hitler and Mussolini.
The rats are finally eating their young is what's going on here.
None of this is subtle.
All the Republicans these days are treasonous rats.
He really does seem to be trying to get them excited about the possibility of cathartic violence. Mass murdering dictators refer to the people they want to mass murder as vermin, pests, rats, right? Anything to make their followers see those people as something to be exterminated, not someone you might know.
That's pretty funny. It seems like this is a pretty common tactic that they don't have a problem with when it's not a Republican saying it.
Well, you know what the rats are is everybody who's not a Davos man. That's what the great Yuval Harari, who I've been, his book's very popular. I love it. And he's talking about how a new useless class is coming. What are these people useless to any? And I like useless to who?
Yeah.
Useless to mother? Who am I useless to?
We did that in the live show the other night. It's just another incredible example of it's all do as we say, not as we do.
Yeah.
Like Friedman, if they feel so strongly about this, as Keaton pointed out, nobody looked at that and thought anything was wrong with it. I mean, aside from literary merit or the absence thereof, like nobody said, hey, I don't think it's a good idea to compare people who are being bombed on a daily basis to insects and vermin.
Yeah. He's like almost a mascot, I think, at this point. They know he's like a hack, but he's like friends from back in the day. And you're like, come on, leave Thomas Friedman alone. You're bullying him because they know, but like he's in.
No,
they probably know him well enough to know that he was really, really proud of that piece, and that it would just crush him if they rejected it.
I bet
Like, they just didn't have the heart to tell him, actually, no, Thomas, I think we're going to pass on this one. Maybe put this on your Substack if you have one.
Okay.
Because you could tell all the reresearch he did on the lemurs and the spiders and the, what were the other things in there?
He put in keywords.
I like
until he found one that fit what he wanted to smear people as. Yeah, you give more credit to the libs than I do, man. The libs that I know, they'll read that shit. They'll be like,
yes, regular, like, okay, I'm talking about
it won't even make an impression
in the newsroom, because I have friends that used to work. I have a good friend of mine used to work at like Jezebel and for all that, and so when I started meeting people that work in real media like that, they talk all kind of shit about all the other people, which I'm totally into. And I'll bet you there's got to be a couple of people that, like the editor or whoever has to look at that, like, dude, come here, read this.
Oh, do they know? Do they know he's a moron? Probably.
I'm sure.
The people who subscribe to the New York Times, do they know he's a moron? No, I don't think so.
No. The people that work in it, of course they do.
Well, it's like Joy Reid the other night. It's gonna start another fucking war.
That's how all.
Sure.
I'm all, a bunch
They're
of them,
playing a character.
A bunch of them are drug addicts, alcoholics, pillhead, whatever. A bunch of people that I know that, and they live like New York animals, like how I did when I lived in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you keep that denial bubble and crazy thing. You just yuck it up, but you remember you're elite, and they have a natural disdain for even. That's what don't do your own research is. It's not for people that don't like Forbes or the New York Times. It's for the people that are supposedly smart enough to read the New York Times or Forbes.
Right. Well, because the system relies on what I like to call non-player characters, and a lot of people like to call non-player characters. Is one of my favorite phrases of the modern age, because that's exactly what they are. And if you look throughout the ages,
standards, though, like there are people who can do pseudo-intellectualism well, like David Frum, right? He could pull it off, right? Bill Crystal on occasion can pull it off. Right. That was some of the craziest shit I've ever read in my life. Well, I mean, how does that get printed?
Well, that's why. I mean, Matt Friedman, Matt Taibbi has had a legendary series of articles about Friedman, and actually Matt Orfalea, you could check that out at Matt Taibbi's Substack, which is Racket. He's doing most of his work right now for Matt, and that was dropped for Racket. All right, so to Misha for Super Chat.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit